Hey, welcome to Sports Close-Up. I'm Ed Mayer, my co-host John Matillo. Today we have Shawn Morelli. She's a local from Sagertown. She just previously won a gold and silver down in Tokyo. Shawn, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, you're from Sagertown. Did you graduate from Sagertown?
I did. I graduated from Sagertown. Spent most of my life in Sagertown, in the Meadville area, and I went off to school. And didn't join the military.
Where'd you go to college?
Penn State.
Penn State? We are?
Penn State.
Penn State.
It's really the only school I think anybody should go to, but I might be biased.
That's okay. I'd have to agree with you. It's a great place.
So,
it's a fun place.
what was your major?
History. Because I had to have time for sports.
So what did you play? What did you do?
I played soccer, and then my senior year I got roped into playing softball. Although I'd never played softball a day in my life, but they needed a pinch runner. But they didn't tell me I had to learn how to actually hit the ball, catch a ball either. So.
Can't steal first base.
No, you can't steal first base.
Right.
I ran for the pitcher.
Okay.
She'd hit the ball, and I'd get on base and do the rest of the work.
So after you graduate, what year did you graduate from Penn State?
I graduated from Penn State in '96.
And then what did you do afterwards?
Or '98. I graduated from '98 from Penn State. I went active duty.
Okay.
I was commissioned in the military in '96.
What made you join the military after?
My whole family's been in the military. My uncles, my grandfather, it was in World War II. My dad was in Vietnam. So his brother was in Vietnam. So it just kind of felt like the right thing to do. It always interested me, the way of life, and the security of the paycheck and the job and the benefits, which I think you just can't pass up the medical benefits alone. So I was looking at the job market when I was getting close to graduating, and I was like, yep, it's looking better and better to join the military. So,
now you were a major, correct?
I was a retired major.
And you spent how long in the military?
About 13 years. So.
You miss it?
I miss certain aspects of it. I miss the camaraderie and the friendships you make. Like we have friends that we made, at our first duty station in Hawaii when we were very young lieutenants that are still our very best friends.
Did you meet your husband
in the military?
In the military.
Yes, I met my husband at Fort Leonard Wood when we graduated college, and then we go to what's called your officer's basic course, where you learn how to be, like for us, how to be engineer officers and everything that entailed. So I met him at the engineer officer's basic course right after graduation.
Well, when you were in college, was it ROTC?
I did ROTC.
Okay.
Yes.
What's his rank in that?
He is a lieutenant colonel now.
So he doesn't got that much more time until he retires, huh?
Whenever he gets tired of it, I guess, is kind of what we've decided on. I'm not going to push him to retire. He loves what he's doing. He loves his country. He loves serving his country. So as long as he's happy, I'll be happy for him.
I still kick myself in the butt for not staying in.
Yeah,
I know that.
because you can retire when you're like 45, and then you got the rest of your life to figure out what you want to be when you grow up.
Yeah. Now, you got injured. What made you do Paralympics?
It was mostly for rehab and recovery. After I was injured, I was having a lot of trouble figuring out how to control my body again because of some of my injuries. And so my physical therapist suggested, I try to get active again, and suggested I ride a bike. And the first suggestion was to ride one of those recumbent bikes. And I was like, no way, I'm not getting on a recumbent bike.
What is a recumbent?
It's where you sit down, and you're kind of in a reclined position, your legs are in front of you, and you pedal in front of you, and then you steer with your hands back here on two levers. And I was just like, no, that's not for me. And so I started to learn to ride a upright bike again.
Yeah, we got one of those right here.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't look cheap.
She is not cheap, no.
And you said there's like different gadgets on this, and some people say that they've taken it for a ride and say, how do you ride this thing?
Yeah, it's not designed, I think it's very comfortable, but for the average bicyclists who don't race but just enjoy riding like the Ernst Trail or something, it would not be a comfortable ride for them. But I ride 5-6 hours on that machine, and I don't have
That's
any
a long
problems.
time.
It is.
5 or 6 hours
A day.
continuously.
Yeah, sometimes I'll stop for water when I run out, but
Now that's your part of your training, or is it,
It-
actually even more
It
intense
is.
when you train?
Oh, when I'm training, we do different training blocks. So one training block, I may be building what we call base miles, and that's where just about every day will be a 3 to 6 hour bike ride. And then I'll have one day that's maybe only an hour in there, and then I'll have like a day off, but it's all very long bike rides.
Wow.
When you trained, was there a team that you had, people that you trained
You know,
with?
no, cycling is
It's individual
it's a
sport?
very individual kind of lonely sport.
Okay.
When we go to competitions, then I'm with the entire national team, but as far as we all live all over the US.
You
So
have a specific coach?
I do have a coach. My coach is in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay.
His
I've
name
been to
is
Greenville,
Simon.
South
So
Carolina, one of the few places I've been. It's nice down there.
it is. I enjoy riding in that area, but I've only ridden there a couple times. One was for a world championship, and another one was for a training camp.
So what made you start competing?
I went to the Warrior Games. I don't know if you're familiar with the Warrior Games, but it's where they take injured, wounded, sick, ill military veterans,
Okay.
and you kind of compete in sport against the other services. So it's, you know, on the military side, it's a pretty big competition because everybody wants to beat all
Right.
the other, you know, the branches. And I did the bicycling race there, and U.S. Paralympic Cycling saw me race against all men, and I did really well, so they asked me if I wanted to come to a camp. And so I was like, sure, I'm not doing anything, I'll come to your camp. And
What year was that?
that was in 2010, 2011.
So you've only been doing it for 11 years then.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad.
And then was Rio your first?
Rio was my first games. I came onto the national team after they'd already selected their team for London.
Okay.
So I started the next quad, which would have been the Rio quad.
Did they select by times?
They did. They selected by times, and they had already selected the team when I went to one of the races with them, the national championships. So
Now you won 2 golds in Rio, correct?
I did win 2 golds in Rio.
So how did it feel getting up there, being number 1? I mean, that was your first games, correct?
It was my first games. I won Team USA's first gold medal of the games on the velodrome. And my mom and my husband and my sister were there. So
Now that's the
that's the track, the wood
oval.
track.
It's an oval, right?
Yeah, it's a wood track, indoor.
And it's
Good.
banked.
It's banked. It's really fast. So you ride a different bike than this on that track. On that track, you ride a very simple bike. It has 1 gear and no brakes. So
okay.
Well, I've seen it on the Olympics.
Yeah.
So you pass, like, I don't know. How's it work? Like,
well, it depends on what race you're in. I do the 3-kilometer individual pursuit. So in that race, I'm on one side of the track and my competitor's on the other side of
Okay.
the track. And the gates let you go, and you kind of try to chase each other around the track. And it's the fastest time wins, or if you catch the other person.
Oh, so a lot different. Just
And
catching
they
the
have-
other person.
They have the mass start events too, which are where you're all over the track, kind of like a NASCAR race
Okay.
on bikes. So
how been the feeling? I mean, stand up there, hear the national anthem,
you know, it's
watch the flag.
of course, it's a great feeling. I mean, just being on the podium is awesome, but being on the top step when your anthem is playing is just, you know, not only are you like, I mean, at least for me, I wasn't thinking, oh my God, I'm the best in the world. I was just thinking, wow, that's really cool. My mom gets to see this.
Yeah.
So
Now they weren't at Tokyo with you?
they weren't at Tokyo. Tokyo, we weren't allowed to have any fans.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Did they coincide with the other Olympics?
We're
I mean, it was
2 weeks after the Olympics is
Okay.
the Paralympics, because they have to make everything ADA compliant.
Gotcha.
So that, and of course, change all the signage.
When you got your gold in Brazil, what countries did you beat? Who was
I
on
beat
who was the silver and who was the bronze?
Australia was silver and bronze.
Okay. Okay.
So the girl that beat me on the track, I beat her on the road.
Okay.
So it was kind of a good comeback.
Were you friends?
Oh yeah, we're friends. We're all pretty good friends. You know, not enough to where I was gonna let her win, but
Right.
you know.
I got you.
So how many miles?
Do I put on that a year?
Well, I mean, for the games, I mean, how long?
The time trial was only 28 kilometers, and the road race was like 82 kilometers. So
too much for me.
So wasn't horrible. The road race was a little longer than what I typically race, but it wasn't that much longer. I'm an endurance athlete, so the longer the race for me, the better.
So you ride 5-6 hours a day. That's
is that uphill, round?
Oh yeah, it's all kinds of different terrain.
Okay.
When you're outside, it's whatever terrain you run into.
Where do you train around here?
I go out towards Kilometer a lot. Go out towards Linesville, Ohio, Pontiac Lake, kind of wherever. I start up there by the fairgrounds, near where my parents live, and if I have a 3-hour ride or a 4-hour ride, I just kind of pick a direction and
just go.
I try to make big loops because I hate like backtracking, so I try to make big loops. So.
Can you go up State Road Hill?
Oh yeah.
I can't even walk up there. Then I'll ride a bike.
Yeah.
That's nothing to it, right?
Nah,
that's nothing. Okay.
Nah, that's not a big hill.
Now I see a lot of gadgets on this bike. I mean, what's this part do in the middle?
So this is our bike computer, and what this does is it takes all the information, all the training metrics that my coach wants to see, takes off the bike or off my heart rate strap and puts it into the computer so I can see it while I'm training, and then as soon as I save that ride, my coach can see it on his screen in Greenville. So he knows exactly what my heart rate was, exactly what my RPMs were, what the power was I was riding at, how long, how many miles, what elevation I gained or lost. Everything he sees right in front of him. I can actually track it in real time, but we don't quite do that because he don't need that information.
So how long did it take you to get used to something like this?
Not long. I mean, I just always rode bikes as a kid, so bikes just got better, prettier, and faster.
Do you have to finance that yourself, or does it?
I have sponsors that assist with a lot of my equipment.
Are they local sponsors, national sponsors?
Most of them are national sponsors. Unfortunately, as you know, cycling is not a huge sport in this area of the country. So to get local sponsors, it's a little harder. In Kansas City, we have a bigger cycling scene, so I have a bike shop that kind of sponsors me there. They help with the maintenance, and different parts when I need parts, and a lot of free coffee. Which,
what would a bike?
You need that.
What would a bike like that cost?
The frame on that bike alone, without the wheels, the brakes, or any of the components, is $6,000. Wow. So when you
It's a lot of money.
When you put it all together into the race machine that you're looking at, you're holding about $10,000 in your hand.
Impressive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drop it. Trust me, Shawn.
It's okay.
John might, but I won't.
I don't want to go near it.
Now, does your husband ride with you, train with you a little bit? He doesn't do it?
No, we'll do some gravel rides or some mountain biking together, but out on the road, unless we're doing the shop in Kansas City on Fridays, we do what's called a pizza ride, where all the families come to the shop and we ride to a local establishment. Usually we do like a 12 or 15 mile ride as a group, and then we go and eat dinner. So he'll come on those rides, but if I'm out training...
How does he last on them 12 to 15?
He does pretty good on the 12 to 15.
So we got to call him out to go train with him.
Oh no, he's busy making money so I can buy bicycles.
Do you live in Kansas City?
We live outside of Kansas City, yeah.
She's a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Oh, you're Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri.
No, I'm Kansas City, Kansas.
Kansas City, Kansas.
I'm the real Kansas City.
The real Kansas City. Okay. It's all right being a Chiefs fan. It's okay.
Yeah,
Now,
I think so.
I bet you your family's very, very happy with the accomplishments that you've made. Even being, graduating Penn State, then going to the service, and now this. Do you see yourself going in the next 4 years?
The next games is in Paris. It's 3 years away. I like to think that maybe I'll make a run for it, but right now I'm just kind of enjoying not having a full training load and seeing where the next couple months goes, and if I get the bug and decide I'll pick up my training again.
The bug's always going to be there.
It would be there, but there's so many other aspects of racing and riding that you can do without having that intense training schedule where, literally I'm training 8 hours a day, almost every day.
Wow. Now you're what?
So
45, 46?
44.
Yeah, you never ask a
44.
woman her age.
I know, especially on TV, man.
She's still young yet to keep going?
I'm going to do
Pretty much, because women
She might be the Michael Phelps of cycling.
well, women last a lot longer in endurance sports than men.
There you go.
They actually really do.
I
I bet
believe
you
it.
didn't do research on that
No,
either,
I didn't do
did
any
you?
research.
So, I mean, you know, Kirsten Armstrong, I think she raced until she was 44, 45, and was still winning, you know, world
Wow.
championships on her time
Do you
trial
find a
bikes.
lot of your competitors are younger? Or
They're kind of all over the spectrum.
All over the spectrum.
With disabled sport, you know, we have, I don't race against her, but there's a gal that's 55. She races in the trike category.
Uh-huh.
You know, then a lot of the women on the national team our youngest woman, I think she's 25 maybe, and then our oldest one is 55.
So when it comes time and say you get the bug to go back, you can go to Paris in 3 years, when would you start training? Like how long is the training?
If I told my coach I wanted to go to Paris, we'd start training next month.
Okay.
So you basically train, I tell people, this last games I trained 5 years for a 3-minute race and a 24-minute race.
It was well worth it. You can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, it was a good day. Good
I mean,
couple days on the bike. So.
I don't know if you could hold those up, you know, let the viewers see them, but
Yeah.
I
That's
mean, they're
something.
pretty heavy.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
really nice.
They can give you some.
Hey, that'll closest we'll get the gold and silver.
And the other two are at home, correct?
Correct. One is hanging on the wall and one is in a box in the basement.
I mean, 2 golds. I mean, 3 golds overall and a silver. I mean, that's
From somebody from our area, that's really impressive.
yeah. You know, kind of brings
Something
chills.
that makes
I mean,
us proud.
it does. And you know, I mean, I'm glad that you get a good family support and all that.
Oh, yeah.
I see your sister always posting stuff, which helped us out.
She kills me.
She's so happy for you, though.
But yeah, no, she is. They're all great, and like I don't know if they still have it up, but like my high school, Sagertown, you know, they had a big bulletin board in the hallway with one of my world championship jerseys and that I donated to the school, and then a lot of my other information. You know, and like for the Rio games, you know, they had the sign that's down there on the corner of McRoad that had, you know, Shawn Morelli wins gold, you know, and you know, so the school's been really supportive. You know, the community's been really supportive. I have a lot of friends, obviously, from around here, and they're always, you know, following me. And I had a bunch of T-shirts with my name on them that were for sale from Team USA, and a lot of people bought those and were posting pictures and stuff like that. So it's been really great community support. So.
Yeah, Sagertown's a good community. I can see them rallying around. And even Crawford County, for that
Yes.
matter. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of great
proud of
athletes from there. You know, now we get
You know, and not
3
too
gold
many,
and silver
that's not
medalists
the
here.
not too many
correct?
cyclists, but we have a lot of great wrestlers from this area of the state that, you know, I've met up at the training center, and that are up and comers, or some that are well into their training. So it's been great to see everybody be like, hey, do you drive that Penn State car? I'll be like, yeah. You know,
Now, do you come
So-
back often?
I try to get back a couple times a year. It's if I'm in a full training load, a lot of it is okay. When in my training schedule can I go back and eat not quite as right as I would eat at home, and maybe not hit all my training metrics because it's a different environment. So a lot of that is my visits home when I'm training is planned around my training schedule.
What are your training? What do you know?
Well, when I'm in a full training load, like I explained what our base block is, which is a lot of long rides. But if I'm in a build block, then we're talking, I'm in the gym 3 days a week. I'm on my bike in the morning, in the gym in the afternoon, and then on my bike again in the evening. And then I will usually do an hour of yoga or stretching.
I'm having a heart attack
And-
just listening to this.
And that's pretty much my day. And then in there, I gotta, you know, eat, take a nap.
you have to watch what you eat.
I watch what I eat very closely. Not right now, because I'm in my let's get fat phase. But
Yeah,
Well, what does your diet consist of?
normally when I'm training,
Yes.
so I have a macro breakdown, which is, you know, your carbs, your proteins, and your fats. And 50% of my diet is carbohydrates, 30% of my diet is protein, and 20% or lower is fat. So basically it's a pretty lean diet, but I would rather have high carbs because that means I can eat bread and pasta and all that yummy stuff.
Oh, I love my bread.
And I'm not really a sweet person, so I don't eat a lot of added sugars.
Okay.
You know, I'm actually usually lacking in my protein, even though I eat a lot of meat, but because I eat so lean that I usually have to take a protein shake in the evening just to get my protein where it needs to be. And then obviously low fat.
So a lot of fish you like?
I eat a lot of fish.
What's your favorite?
I really don't know. Like, I love tuna, and I like real tuna, you know, like a tuna steak, not like tuna fish.
Right.
Sorry, tuna fish fans, but like tuna is a tuna steak. And then I like salmon and I like cod. So those would probably be my 3 fish, and then a lot of chicken. As my husband's saying, what day of the week are we going to have a red meat? You know, versus.
So he eats right along with you then?
He eats what I cook.
That's a good man.
And he says
You
all of
should.
it is great.
That's right. If he's got any brains.
So,
Yeah, really. And then you say,
but I cook really good. Like, I make my own bread. You know, I make my own flatbread for him. It's
Wow.
pita pot, all from scratch. So,
No
like,
kidding.
I don't.
You learned that from somebody in the family?
Oh, my mom and dad.
Okay.
You know, they pretty much always cook out of the garden. And
Okay. Where'd you grow up at? What part of Sagertown?
I lived out on Gravel Run
Gravel
Road.
Run Road.
So
Okay.
more woodcock, I guess.
Okay.
But
and then you move closer to the city. You said the big city.
the big
like
city,
Maple.
we moved closer to big city. So now we live up by the fairgrounds.
Okay.
Maybe we'll see you out here riding around sometime.
I'm always riding. I have a 3-hour ride I got to get in this afternoon.
So how long is your naps though when you're training? Because you said you eat, and then you go home, then you take a nap.
About an hour, usually between my morning ride and my afternoon lift. I will eat breakfast and sleep for an hour and then go to the gym.
Do you ever worry about the cars and traffic when you're out on the road?
Not so much around here. I've noticed that the people are really great. I mean, my dad gets nervous. He's always like, watch out. They don't know what people in spandex riding those two
Yeah, and they worry
things
about
do.
people. I worry about people
So-
people texting and not paying attention.
I do, mostly around the bigger cities. I mean, I'm sure people are doing it when they're passing
When you
me.
ride your bike, are you riding into traffic or with traffic?
I ride with traffic.
With traffic.
Bicycles have to follow the same rules
Same rules,
as
okay.
cars. So typically if I'm in town, I'll signal and tell people I'm stopping, although I would say probably 90% of drivers don't have any idea what I'm signaling about. They just see my arms go in different directions.
Gotcha.
Unless you ride a motorcycle, a lot of motorcycle folk know the hand signals. And I have a light that I ride with on the back.
Oh.
It's not on there because I brought her in race setup.
Well, people in Crawford County, beware and be careful.
These things
Yeah,
light
Pay
too.
attention.
You know, they're pretty good around here.
Good.
I never had an issue
Good.
riding in this area. So I've always been very thankful about that. Maybe it's because they don't see people on bicycles very often riding on the road, so they're like,
There's not a lot, really.
No, they used to have something around the diamond.
Yeah.
There used to be that Tamarack. They had a
They
Yeah.
have a race there in September. I've done that race once. I haven't been able to get back, but every year I put it on my calendar to try to get back to it, but it always seems like something's happening. the
Have
beginning
you
of September.
ever competed against the regular Olympic?
I've raced. When I raced pro, I raced with a lot of, obviously everybody I raced when I raced pro was able-bodied. That's
Uh-huh.
what us disabled folk
Right.
call
Okay.
other people able-bodies, because their bodies aren't
Right.
like ours. And so I raced with a lot of the girls there.
How'd you do?
You know, I do okay. Depends on the kind of race.
Okay.
Obviously, if it's a lot of like stop and go or a lot of climbing, I don't do as well, just because of how my body functions.
Mhm.
Like I don't accelerate as fast as they do, but once I'm up to speed, I can sit
You
with
can
them.
compete.
Yeah, so it just depended on the race and the type of race we were doing.
Were you close to a world record?
I've had a world record
Okay.
on the track.
Nice.
It's been broke, but I once did hold a world record. Yes. So my name is
That's
in the
still
book.
impressive. Yes. Heck
So,
yeah. How long did you hold it for?
About 3 years, I think.
That's nice. That's good.
So I held it for a while. Yeah.
Where'd you do that at?
I did that race. Was that one in Italy? I think it was in Italy.
You got to see the.
Italy.
You've been all around the world.
Oh yeah. I've raced in South Africa, Italy, Germany, Spain, France,
Brazil,
Brazil,
Japan.
Canada.
It would be nice to see you in
Yeah.
Paris. Paris is beautiful.
It is.
You've been there, Ed?
Yes. When I was out there. Yep.
So, yeah, I would like that. I mean, I might make a go of it. A lot of it.
You get the itch, you'll go.
Yeah, if I feel like it. You know, I'm gonna race this year with the national team, just because I accepted a big sponsor. So I feel like I have to give a little back since
Right.
they're gonna give me some money for racing. I should probably race.
Right.
So But yeah, you know, if anybody local wants to sponsor me,
That's what I was going to ask. That
Put your name on my
anybody
back.
out there looking to?
Channel lock could be a good one.
yeah, you know, I've thought about hitting up
Put them on the
some of
spot.
thought about hitting up some of the local places, you know, and seeing if they were interested, but I don't know. Sometimes I just get the feeling that, you know,
The worst they can say is no.
exactly.
It's not like they can take your birthday away,
They
right?
can't, but I don't live local anymore, so it's hard for me to ask.
I think you might be surprised that people around here would be pretty proud to. I mean, I never knew anything about this until it was in the Tribune, and then Ed told
I
me
knew when
about
she
it.
was down in Rio and stuff like that, and then Kevin got a hold of me, and you know, because like I said, his wife works with your sister, and,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
It's a small
it's
community,
very
isn't
impressive. It is, and I mean, we only have what 12 to 13,000 people in this area in Crawford
Yeah.
County.
No, it's about a lot more. That's Meadville proper is about 12, 13,000 people. There's about 70,000 people in Crawford County.
Well, yeah, you count Titusville and all that stuff. I was thinking more here,
Yeah.
John. At least you did your research on that.
I knew that's I'm a history major.
Yeah, nothing else to do with the day, but
Yes.
as far as how many people live here,
I
yeah,
knew
it's
you'd
not-
be all right once you get in front of the camera. You're doing great. You're nervous like everybody gets a little bit nervous once they get started.
Oh, I'm sweating.
I mean,
like
you were on
that.
national TV. This is
You know, but I'm usually racing, and you know, and
your game mode.
I've done a few interviews where like I turn around and I look at our media person. I said, "Did I just really say that on international like TV?" And she's like, "Yep." I'm like, "Cool."
It happens
know, like-
sometimes.
A funny story: at the games, right after I did the time trial, you go through, you get off your bike, and for me, I collapsed for about 45 minutes because my body's spasming, and you know I can't really walk or get back on my bike and ride. So then I get up, and our media people take us through the media lane where all the reporters get to ask you questions. And this one guy, is definitely European. I think he was from the UCI channel or the IOC channel. And he asked me what I wanted to do when I get home. And I said, I want to go home and have a fire and a weenie roast. and he just looked at me with his head sideways. And I'm like, oh, he does not know what a weenie roast is. And so I was like, you know, it's where you put a hot
Crawford
dog on a
County,
stick,
yeah.
you know, and you cook it over a fire.
Right.
I go, this is what we do.
Yeah, right.
Then what did he say after that?
He just, you know, shook his head in agreement, and I turned around and I looked at our media person, and I said weenie. And she goes, I knew exactly what you were talking about. She goes, I grew up in the country.
Well, at least you had your weenie roast Saturday.
We did. We had our wiener roast Saturday. Whole family was up there. You know, we just sat around the fire like we do. And
How many siblings do you have?
I have one brother and sister,
Okay.
and then they have tons of kids.
Do they live in the area?
They do. My sister lives in a house she's actually renting from me down there on Pine Street, and then I'm not sure where my brother lives right now,
Okay.
so kind of wherever the wind takes us. And then we have all our my nieces and nephews who have some of their own kids. So yeah, it was good.
So how proud is your mom and dad?
Oh
They're
boy.
pretty proud, I think.
Did it?
I mean, they always kind of get a little twinkle in their eye when they talk about it to other people, you know, because I don't talk about it much. You know,
You're pretty humble.
yeah,
can tell.
I just
Yeah,
don't.
you can tell. She's humble.
You know, I just ride a bike. You know, there's so many people out there in the world that do so much greater things for the world and the community and the country, whereas you know, I just ride a bike and try to give it up to God.
I don't know. It's I don't know if I could ride this bike, but
Yeah,
to me,
don't
You
it's
can
not
try
just
it.
riding
It'd be
a bike.
good entertainment.
No, Kevin, don't even
Don't-
think about it. No, because the last time I did that on
Don't
that
look
fin
at me.
cycle, it took. John,
No way.
you're still young yet,
I
even
couldn't-
though you're retired.
I could not even get
What are
up
you,
on that
58?
bike. 64.
I don't know if I could try it. How many gears does this thing have?
It's an 11 speed, so I have 2 in the front and 11 in the back.
So what do you put it at when you're going up like a steep incline?
Usually the small chain ring in the front and somewhere halfway up the cassette in the back.
Okay. Oh, I see. There's like little. Is these
Yeah,
the brakes?
The brakes are right here.
Ed.
Okay. Well, no, I was looking at this. I think come
That's
over.
a
That's
shifter.
the gear. Okay.
That's a shift. So when I'm climbing, you ride with your hands on the tops, which is in this position.
Okay.
So then you can shift from here without having to move your hands all over the bars.
Pretty impressive. I mean,
So it's just a kind of a luxury item, I guess, if you were going to put one on your bike. You know, some
which
people
one's
get-
for gear up, gear down?
Yeah, each one does gear up and gear down. So
Okay.
one does gear up and one does gear down.
Man. And you're going to go out on a 3-hour bike ride today?
Where are you going to go?
Whew.
I'm going to start up by Tamarack, and then I was going to see if the people show up at the Diamond to ride. And then if they show up at the Diamond, I was going to link up with them and go wherever they go.
Bet you they love having you when you come down.
I don't know. I've only made it on their rides a couple times. I showed up one time and nobody was there, and I was like, oh, maybe they don't do these anymore. So my friend said, no, they're going to ride. I was like, okay, I'll try to show up this week. So my plan is
you go right up that state road hill, nothing to it. That's nothing.
I mean, if I went up it like super hard, it would probably be hard. But if you're just tooling up it, no, it's not hard.
You sitting down or standing up when you're
Sitting down.
standing up? Probably takes a little bit more energy, huh?
It depends on what kind of climber you are. I'm more of a seated climber, so I have pretty good power production from the seated position.
You ever train in the mountains?
Oh yeah, I go to the mountains.
So besides riding the bikes, what other training? I mean, like we know about your diet.
Strength
Just
training.
Yeah, what type of strength training do you do?
Do a lot of free weight lifting, so a lot of squats, a lot of leg work. Not so much on your upper body because really I don't use that much. I use a lot of core.
Okay.
Because you're pedaling mostly with your glutes and your hamstrings if you're pedaling correctly. So I do a lot of glute hamstring work, quad work, and then core.
So do you do any yoga or anything?
I do a lot of yoga, about an hour every day.
Really helps, doesn't it?
Yes.
What interested you in that?
Makes you feel better.
It's all about breathing.
Breathing. A lot of it is breathing control, getting all the muscles stretched, and kind of just getting your body refocused and right.
Affect the mind too.
Yeah, it's relaxing. I mean,
I should probably try
Does it help core work?
There is core aspects of it, yeah.
You do that too also?
Yeah.
With that?
Yeah, I do. I add about 10 minutes of core to it at the end of the stretching and breathing part. And then I do about 10 minutes of core, whether I'm in the gym or not. If I'm in the gym, then I have the core that's prescribed to me in my training program.
So how long have you been doing like the yoga on top of your training? Has it been since you started competing?
I'd say since I got the coach I have now, he's really instituted more of the stretching and mobility work than my last coach. So I've been with Simon, I think for 3 years now.
Is he from the U.S. or?
Originally he's from Australia. He lives in the U.S. on a green card, and he's married to an American. So.
Okay. And
So
how
I guess
long?
he's Australian.
How long's
Yeah,
he
he's
been?
Australian.
How long's he been training?
He was an Australian swimmer for their Olympic team.
Oh, yeah, they could.
And then he rode professionally. Then he transferred out of swimming. I'm not sure when he left the swimming program and decided to pick up cycling. But then he rode for Team Type 1 pro team for a while. And then he got into coaching. So he coaches runners, triathletes, mountain bikers, road cyclists.
Is he a good motivator?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's keeps you motivated, keeps you focused.
Does he ever get mad at you?
Oh, I'm sure he does. I like to push his buttons sometimes. So.
What's the most famous cyclist you met?
Mark Cavendish.
Okay.
Yeah, I've met a lot of. I've met Peter Stetina, rides professionally. He used to ride in the Pro Peloton. Now he's real big into gravel racing. And I'm really good friends with his cousin and then his aunt. They live in Southern California. And I've met Taylor Finney. I've met a ton of pro cyclists, but I would say Mark Cavendish was super impressive and super nice.
No Lance Armstrong?
I've met Lance Armstrong, but I wouldn't say he's the most famous. I mean, he may be infamous, but
Infamous.
Right.
Cheat. Right.
But, yeah, I mean.
He was caught.
Yeah, and in the pro peloton, even today, I'm sure there's a lot of cheating, but it's a tough sport on your body. I mean, we can't even take tramadol. I can't take over-the-counter cold medicine. So it's pretty regulated, and there's a lot of stuff where like my mom could take or you guys could take.
You think
for
he did
cold.
damage to the cycling?
Oh
sport?
yeah, especially in the U.S. Whether he meant to or he didn't mean to, or
He
whether
probably didn't mean to, but it just.
whether he really cheated or he didn't really cheated, that's not that's not for me
Right.
to decide. But I would say the whole incident, all the news reporting and having his titles taken away probably did damage in the U.S. I would say, especially in the cycling community. So, which was a shame because he had a great cancer foundation and was doing a lot of good.
Yes.
But unfortunately, that doesn't counterweigh.
Right. And the media gets a hold of something.
And they just, you know, it doesn't matter if it's true or not.
Right.
They spin it however they want to spin it.
Is there a lot of the buildings inside? What's it called?
The velodrome.
How many of those are in our country?
Oh my gosh, not many. We have one indoor wood track, which is in California, which is why I spend a lot of time in Southern California.
That's what I figured.
All of our other tracks are outdoor, and they're usually a 330 track, but we race on a 250 track. So if we were trying to get race-like conditions, we need to go to LA to
because that's the one they used in the Olympics in 1984.
Yeah. So
Los Angeles Olympics.
But yeah, I mean, I wish communities would invest in velodromes, even if they're outdoor cement tracks, because it's, you know, just a great way to get kids and people on bikes in a safe environment.
Is the training different?
Yes, it's very different. It's more intense. It's a lot of short, intense efforts versus the road. It's
so if you're training
longer.
for this, and then you got to train for that.
It's hard.
I mean,
because it's two different body types even. Like a track cyclist is usually heavier, more muscular than a road cyclist because they're doing a lot of short, intense power. It's like a power lifter versus a body like a...
How fast are you going around that track? I mean, in layman's terms.
From leaving the start gate, which is a standing start, so you're completely stopped, to the first corner, you need to be going about 20 miles an hour or you won't be able to stay on the track. So...
Are you padded up?
No, you're wearing a lot of spandex.
That's it, and a helmet.
And a helmet, yeah.
what type of shoes?
You wear cycling shoes. They have a cleat on the bottom. So if you look at those pedals, you can see that they're not your regular flat pedals. So you would snap into the pedal. Your cleat would snap into there, and your feet are locked into the pedals.
So if you wreck, does it come loose?
Sometimes. I mean, you hope they do.
You were wrecked?
Oh, yeah. Not on the track.
Not on the track?
But on the road, yeah. In Kansas one time, I got picked up by a little mini tornado and carried across the cornfield.
Wow.
It was really a dirt devil, but it looked like a little baby tornado to me. All the people I was riding with, you know, they got stopped and they got one foot down and were kind of leaning into it, and I got stopped and had my foot almost down, but they weigh about 100 more pounds than me too. And that thing hit us, and I just started going sideways, and I was like, well, I hope I land in the field and not on the road.
How far did it carry you?
Off to the side of the road. I landed just off the side of the road. It was kind of all, you know, really odd position. So I had to fix my front wheel. I had to fix my bars. My bars were all sideways. My leg was like through my frame. It's pretty interesting. They were like, "Did you see that?" Like,
I felt it.
I didn't feel it. I lived it.
Pretty sure I saw all of it.
Yeah.
So the outside, inside, and then outside again.
Yeah, but it was pretty funny. It's one of those things we still laugh about. Yeah.
Now, how long are you going to be in the area?
I think I'm gonna go home about mid next week. My husband just left on a trip for the military, so he had to put our dogs in the kennel. We call it dog jail, but so they're in the kennel, and I don't like leaving them there for extended periods of time. So I'll probably go home next week and pick them up.
Now, your parents went to Rio. Did he go to Rio also?
He did go to Rio.
And I bet you it ate everybody alive that they couldn't go to this one.
Oh, it did. Yeah, he was, I think, secretly looking forward to it. He always kind of pretends like he's not super stoked about going to my bike races. But he had bought, you know, a How to Speak Japanese book, and you know, so I think he was really planning on going, and he was pretty bummed. I know my sister wanted to go, and she's like, "But my passport's still good."
Can't help you.
They're not going to let you in the country. You can buy the plane ticket.
Now, you said you speak German.
A little bit, yes. I mean, I used to speak a lot more, but I haven't lived in Germany.
How long was you stationed in Germany for?
I was stationed there for about 7 years.
My cousin's husband was stationed over there for, I think it was like 3-4 years. I think she's been over there. She misses it, but he's retired now. So
I love Germany, so I would have stayed there longer.
That was good duty.
Oh yeah, it was a fun place to live.
Probably nice place to ride bike too, huh?
Pretty nice place, you know. And you had the Alps right there.
Yeah.
I was there. I was there in '91.
The transportation system, you know, we just go get on the train, go wherever we wanted to in Europe, you know, and you could take your dog right with you on the train and the restaurant.
You take the bike?
Oh, yeah, you can take the bike. You can take your bike up the gondola in the summertime and ride down the mountain just like you take your skis up in the wintertime. You know.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was a great place to live.
Jeez, oh man.
A little different, but a great place to live.
Where else were you stationed?
Hawaii,
Okay.
and then we came back to the States for more schooling after Hawaii. Then we went to Germany. And then obviously we went back and forth between Iraq and Afghanistan quite a few times in the last 20 years. Not that those are duty stations, but might as well be. You're gone for 15 months.
We
at
do
a time.
appreciate your service, by the way, Shawn.
Did you ride a bike in Afghanistan?
No, I
No.
ran.
Yeah.
I ran.
You ran a lot,
Yeah.
so you really like the endurance.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I used to run a lot of marathons. So now I just ride because my coach says that running is bad for my
Now,
cycling
did you do
legs.
track in high school?
No, I did not. I played soccer in high school.
They didn't have
Well,
tracks in
well,
Sagertown.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if they came to me because Cochran.
Yeah,
did
they
something.
do. They could have.
So
We didn't have a good track back then.
No.
We do now.
I played basketball mostly. And
Who was
then
your coach?
Steve Scott was
Steve
my
was your
basketball
coach?
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, it was sad.
Good guy.
Yep.
Boy, he really helped a lot of girls and mentored them very well.
Yeah,
So,
no.
dude, I heard a lot of good things about that man.
He was a good coach.
Did you guys stay in touch after you graduated or anything before you passed?
Not a lot. I mean, I went to some of the games whenever I'd come home and stuff, and kind of we'd wave to each other from across the court. But I never really stuck around afterwards to talk to folks. I would just kind of get in my car and go back home because.
How'd you guys do in high school basketball-wise? Did you win districts or?
One year, my senior year, we were really good. Up until then, we were not very good. You know, but it takes a lot of time
Right,
to
to build a
so-
program. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to have the young people coming in,
Right.
build them. And so no, I swam, and then I quit swimming because it interfered with basketball. Then I played soccer. And, it's pretty
That's a good endurance sport. You're
everything
running
I
all the
did was
time.
endurance. Yeah.
It's something, you know, if you fail, you're the only person to blame.
Yeah.
You can't blame anybody else. you
Yeah,
know?
it's not a team sport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's kind of like cycling. You know, you either if you don't perform well, it's you can blame everybody else. You can blame your coach because maybe your training wasn't right for
Right.
that event. But really, it's
Up
on
to you.
to he gives me my training plan, and I'm the one that has to execute it. So I really tell him he has the hard job because all I got to do is ride the bike. He has to think of all the different ways to keep my training interesting and keep me motivated.
It's kind of neat just seeing 4 events, 4 medals. I mean,
Yeah.
that's impressive. Very impressive.
Oh, I like to win.
The girl that beat you, I asked that question. It
The
was,
silver.
was Australian, you said?
Yes. Yeah. And she's a nice gal. All the people I race against, I'm pretty lucky that we're all, we're friendly with each other, and I love the Australians. They're just funny. They're nice.
Uh-huh.
They'll bring me their Australian snacks, and I'll bring them some American snacks when we go to races, and we kind of trade off.
What snack do you like?
Oreos?
Me? I'm an M&M person.
There you go. Peanuts.
The peanut butter M&Ms.
Gotta get that protein with the
Peanut butter
with the peanut.
M&Ms are my vice. So I eat them when I'm driving long distances and when I'm on an airplane because if I die on an airplane, I don't want my last thought to be, oh my gosh, I should have had those M&Ms.
There you
So,
I like my Reese's peanut butter cup.
see, it's chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah,
I love
it's
Reese's
something-
peanut
yeah.
butter cups too, but I'll buy a bag of peanut butter M&Ms before Reese's. But
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, that's probably my one vice that if I'll sit and eat a whole 5-pound bag. Everything else I can walk away from. Chocolate, caramel, I can walk away from that stuff and not. But M&M's, my husband's an Oreo guy.
Oreo? I'm not. Come on, no.
man.
I like the vanilla Oreos though.
Yeah. Nah, he's just plain old Oreo.
Do you dip them in milk?
Nah, he drinks some of his beer.
That's my type of man.
Oreos and beer at the fire. Whenever we go camping with our friends in Kansas City, it's like, okay, Oreos and beer at the fire. It never starts that way, but about 3 or 4 beers into the night, out come the Oreos from the RV, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be an Oreo night.
What would you tell kids that would want to get into cycling or any type of sport that includes just themselves, with endurance or anything? What would you tell them?
Go for it. What I tell people or kids or even adults who are looking at a change of life or change in priorities is you gotta follow your heart. If you want to run. If you want to swim. You know, don't do something just because other people think you should do it. Or, you know, maybe your parents think you're really good at baseball or football, but, you know, you want to run cross country. Well, you're going to be good at what your heart wants. You know, maybe you're not going to be a champion, but you're going to enjoy what you're doing and find a love for it. I know a lot of people that race bikes, and, you know, they're not going to stay with me, you know, in a race, but they get to start with me. You know, they get to sit on my wheel for a little while. They get to have conversations with me, and
eventually they'll catch up to you at the finish line.
And eventually they do. You know, and sometimes I don't go out to a race to, like, when I'm doing local races, I don't go out to those races to beat the other women in my community. You know, I go out to build the women's cycling scene in my community. So I do a lot of local races where, you know, I'm just there to help someone else win, or, you know, to make a new friend in the cycling community, to keep them interested, so that we build the women's side of the sport, because you don't see a lot of good women cycling. You know, everything on TV is what, men?
Yeah.
So in the women's races, our races are so much fun to watch because they're so much shorter than the men's. Like, we're on the gas as soon as they drop the go flag.
So why is it so much shorter then?
Because the people who run cycling think that women can't race as far as the men.
They do outlive us, though.
We do. And
are the people in Kansas City real receptive to this sport?
Oh yeah, we have a big cycling scene, from mountain bike, cyclocross, road cycling, to gravel racing. So there's a lot of cycling.
Gravel racing.
It's where you race on dirt roads. And those are usually extremely long races. The one I did 2 weekends ago in Marysville, Kansas, was 120 miles.
Wow.
So I did it.
How long did it take you?
7 hours and 48 minutes.
It's pretty impressive.
Sheesh.
So drive 120 miles is what, about 2 hours, right?
Hour and a half. Yeah, about 2 hours, yeah.
So you did that on a bike in only 5 more hours. And you're going 70 miles an hour in a car. Wow. How fast are you going?
I'd rather sit on my couch eating Oreos and beer.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
So would most people.
It is. I mean, have you ever thought about coming back here and maybe putting on something with a race or something like that?
I would love to come back and even just be like, if I do a lot of guest rides, like not so much in races. I do go to races when people ask me, hey, will you come to our local race? I try to show up and be at that event. But I also travel a lot with my bike to what they call fondos, grand fondos, and that's more of a leisure ride, like the MS ride. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's like the MS ride. They would have like a pro or a big name come out and ride with the group for the day. So I do a lot of those kind of events. I've not been invited to anything in this area, but when I was living in Colorado, I did I don't know if they have it here, but in Kansas City and in Colorado, we have a day where they try to get all the kids to ride their bikes to school. So I was invited to link up with a group of kids at a spot that were riding their bikes to school, and then I rode with them to the school. I went into Kansas City and was the guest rider at a 100-mile ride that my friends were doing for cancer. I did a 12-hour cancer-thon ride where you ride your bike as many miles as you can in 12 hours. I did 6 hours of that. In Colorado, I did an event very similar, but it was 24 hours, and I did it with a 3-person team, so we would switch off every few hours. You know, so I do a lot of different things with the bike, and I would more than happy to come back here and try to help some people that are interested in promoting cycling events get events
I wonder if like Emmek's Bike Shop or people like that would know anybody.
I don't know. I mean, I've talked to Pat when I come home. Sometimes I'm like, I don't think he knows who I am, but that's okay because I don't really want a lot of people to know who I am.
I got you.
You know, and I just visited a shop up in Edinburgh, 814 Outdoor Sports. They did some work on my rear derailleur the other day because it just stopped working. You know, it's all electronic, so there's only so many things I can do to see if I can fix it.
Right.
So they were like, oh no, it's dead. So I ordered a new one, and then I took it back up there, and, you know, they put it on and fixed it. So I'm going to go, hopefully if it's not raining, do their group ride tomorrow that they host out of their shop and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain tomorrow.
It is.
That stinks.
But,
that's every other day around here.
So I try to do stuff in the community when I know about it, or if I'm asked.
Now,
So.
when you came back, did you nice welcome?
No, I kind of drove Kansas to here, and, you know.
Your husband didn't do anything nice?
Oh, when I came back from Tokyo, he brought me some flowers.
I didn't know if they had like a little party for you when you came back.
They had a bunch of watch parties while I was racing, and they were supposed to have a party, but I came here, so we'll probably have like a barbecue when I get
Would that
back.
have been on the Olympic station on our local cable?
It was on the Olympic Channel,
Okay.
and then it was also on NBC Sports,
Okay.
and you could watch it on their app, their NBC Sports app. They had a section for Olympics and a section for Paralympics.
So if anybody wanted to go back to watch that race, they could, correct?
I think so.
Possibly, yeah.
I think so. I know it's been retelevised a couple times. And a lot of times you can find it on YouTube. I haven't scoured YouTube to see if they were up yet, but usually the IPC will post the races on YouTube.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, and I mean, congratulations on
Thanks.
everything. I mean, you know, from being in the
Yeah.
service,
Pleasure
3
meeting you.
goals, 1 silver. We thank Shawn Morelli for joining us today. I'm Ed Marin,
John
Matillo, and for our executive producer Kevin Tomany, thank you for watching Sports Close Up on Armstrong, your neighborhood channel.